Okay, hi. What we're going to go through in this clip is to do with probability. So probability is on paper 2. And I know lots of you have this hang up about probability and just can't get it. Probability is quite easy when you think about it, right? So the biggest thing for probability is you have to know that all your answers have to be between 0 and 1. As in, you can never be more than 100% certain something is going to happen. I know people joke and go, oh yeah, 150%. But in reality, you either are 0% or 100%, or somewhere in between. So in terms of scores for probability, you have to be between 0 and 1. Probability could be written as a fraction or a decimal. 0 stands for the probability that an event will never happen, and 1 stands for an event that it always happens, it's definite. Right? So when you're working it out, if you get an answer that is bigger than 1, you have made a mistake. So in terms of, if you're listening to the weather, they'll say there's a strong likelihood of rain tomorrow, or in the afternoon there's a possibility of thunder, something like that. So they will be probability, right? But you, as a math student, have to put your probability. You cannot use possibility and likelihood. You have to use a probability scale. So you have to choose a number or find out the number that is between 0 and 1 that links to that particular event. Okay, so how you work that out is the probability that something happens is equal to successful outcome, so that's the amount of times it does happen, over all the possible outcomes. Right? And the sort of reverse of that is also true. The probability something doesn't happen is equal to 1 times the probability that something did happen. Right, so if you have a text maths book, if you open it on page 139, you'll be able to see the questions. Right, so if I stick that in there. Right, so for example, in probability, they like giving you spinners. So it says here's 4 spinners with different colours. If the spinners are spun, if I switch off that line, it might be better. If the spinners are spun, which spinner has an even chance of showing blue? So you look at the spinners and you go, this one and this one have blue, which one has an even chance? So it's this one, because each section is the same size and each section is a third. So the probability of getting a blue in this one would be a third. Probability of getting green would be a third. Probability of getting yellow is a third. For this one, the probability of getting blue, when you look at the sections, they're different sizes, but you can imagine splitting the circle into quarters. So your probability of getting a blue is 2/4 or a half. The probability of getting your red is 1/4. The probability of getting yellow is 1/4. Here we have no blues, so the probability of getting blue is 0. Right? And here we have no blues, so again the probability is getting 0. Right? If you look at question 6, it says yogurt is sold in packs of 12. Robbie is going to take one out without looking. So in the pack you've got no nut yogurts. You have a certain amount of berry ones, a certain amount of plain. Halfway along is vanilla, and they all add up. So you'd work it out. So if you have 12 yogurts in the pack and half of them are vanilla, that means 6 of them are vanilla. Right? So then you'd imagine this. So they are now in sixths. So 1/6 is equal to 2 yogurts. So you've got the probability of 2 of them being berry. You've got the probability of 4 of them being plain. Okay, so they'd be examples of that. All right, if we look at examples here, which might make more sense for you. If you look at example 2, you've got a pack of cards. All right, so it says if a card is drawn from a pack of 52, find the probability it's a king, a spade, or a red. So in terms of your pack of cards, you've got 52 cards. That means all together the probabilities add up to 52. Not your probabilities, all the possibilities add up to 52. So we want a king. So in terms of your king, you have a king of hearts, a king of diamonds, a king of clubs, a king of spades. So you've got 4 kings. So the probability of getting a king is not 4, because that is bigger than 1. Your probability of getting a king is 4 over the total outcomes, which is 52. So you go 4 over 52, and you get the fraction 1/13. Right? If you want to know what's the probability of getting a spade, you do the same idea. So how many spades are there in the pack? So you'd work it out, and you've got 13 of every every group in the pack, every suite as they call them. All right, so you've got 13 over your 52, so your quarter of the pack is spades. And then they want to know how many are red. So your reds are your diamonds and your hearts. So you have 26 red cards. So your probability of getting a red card, again, is not 26. It is 26 over your 52, which is a half. And when you look at these grades, if you added them up, so in terms of this, you've got red cards being a half, you've got spades being a quarter, so you've got what's left, so there'd be clubs left, and you'd also work that out as a quarter, so you get a quarter, and a half, which will give you 1. If you look at example 3, it says a letter is selected at random from the letters in the word companion. Whoops. Right? Find the probability that the letter is a P. So you count the letters in companion, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 letters. How many of them are P? So you've only got 1 P, so your probability of getting a P is 1 over 9. Probability of getting an N, so again, count, and you go, you've got 2 N's, so you go 2 over 9. Probably getting a vowel, so a vowel is an A, E, I, O, or U. So in terms of this word, you've got an O, an A, an I, and an O, right? So you've got 4 of them, so your probability of getting the vowel is 4 over 9. And the last part, it says, what's probably getting an M or an N? So your M or N, so you've got 1, 2, 3 of them. So you go 3 over 9, which is 1/3. Now, in terms of this, what you're meant to notice is if the question is asking you or, so you're doing one thing or the other, you add the probabilities. Okay, so it's just a rule you need to know for probability. And that's your first little clip.